The Cauldron, Book of the Silver Bough, read by RobertEusini. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. Book of the Silver Bough, preserved by the hand of Gwyndr Apowyn. Chapter 1, Interpretations. With scriptures such as these, no matter how pure the original inspiration poured out from the divine spiritual fountainhead, they still have to pass through fallible human hands. This could lead to differences of interpretation and discord among the readers, things most undesirable, where harmony and unity are to be the rule. To avoid all such differences, and for the sake of accord and unity, the interpretation of these scriptures must be restricted to conform with the following rules. The interpretation must accord with authentic traditions. It must accord with reason and experience, faith never contending with reason, though it is realized and acknowledged that the nature of life, being as it is, many things have to be accepted and undertaken without logical explanations. The continuance of life beyond the veil of death may not appear to accord with worldly experience and reason, yet it does. But there is a law prohibiting any assurance of this. Such things have to be accepted. Therefore, worldly experience cannot be taken as the yardstick in this instance, as in many other instances. Apart from worldly experiences, there are spiritual experiences, which cannot be known and understood by the many. What is told of these must be accepted in faith by those unwilling to devote the time and undergo the austerities and discipline necessary to know at first hand. Only another twice-born one is in a position to disagree about such a matter, and therefore all others should be content to leave it in their hands. Higher points of doctrine should be left to those competent to deal with them, but when lesser points are in dispute, then the outcome must accord with reason. And if any one explanation is to be accepted, it must be discovered rationally. All differences of opinion are to be settled by a majority of those competent to judge, and all reasons for supporting or disagreeing with any decision must be placed in record. Whenever there is a meeting among brothers, they should assemble in good order, with goodwill and harmony in their hearts, and they should likewise disperse. While things are done in this manner, there will be prosperity and progress, though if any outlandish doctrines are introduced, or any dividing disagreements permitted, prosperity and progress will depart. They will remain while the teachings are esteemed and the doctrines hallowed, while the leaders are held worthy of loyalty and the brothers of comradeship. Progress and prosperity will not depart while the brothers are upright and steadfast, while the maiden sisters are modest and virtuous, and the married sisters are decent and decorous, while the elder brothers are wise and diligent in preserving all that is good, while the elder sisters are careful in all they do and considerate for the welfare of the younger ones. It is for the old to keep watch and ward, and for the young to dare and do. The harshness of the ordinances should be mitigated with loving kindness, and when brothers or sisters are seen to be falling into the ways of wickedness, they should first be warned. After being warned, they should be reminded, and only after this should they be disciplined. let some able and discreet person take them in hand and counsel them. When two disagree as to the teachings, this is to be the manner for reaching a decision. One shall say, "This is my opinion," while the opponent says, "No, this opinion is better." Each shall argue with the other with friendliness, self-control, and reason, following at all times the road of common sense. If there is something on which they hold a different opinion, let them try and decide first which viewpoint is best, which is clearest. All the teachings in dispute will be settled in this manner, and where there can be no settlement between the two, then let them both agree upon two others. If these cannot settle the matter, then they shall choose one other, whose opinion both agree to abide with. These teachings are always right, those which teach the proper channeling of the desires and urges of the body, not those which would pander to them or ignore them. Those which place spiritual objectives above worldly things. Those which uphold the virtues and principles of humanity and attack anything which would bring them down. Frugality is not meanness, and prudence is not fear. Wastefulness is not generosity, and weakness is not kindness. Happiness is not pleasure, and apathy is not peace. The defense of principles is not intolerance, and idealism is not prejudice. To compromise is not to surrender. To defer to the wishes of a loved one is not weakness of character. To avoid argument and discord within the family requires strength, while assertion displays inconsideration. They who stifle hasty or thoughtless words are better than they who speak according to their thoughts. To stand up for your rights is not necessarily right, and to do all things for peace and harmony is often wrong. The way of goodness traverses a very narrow ledge. The man who says, "Perhaps I am wrong," is always right. The man who says, "I am certainly right," is always wrong. To avoid a fight is not cowardice, and to fight with the certainty of victory is not courage. Weak men may often fight, and strong men may often run. Motive is all that matters. To judge anyone by his actions alone is to judge unfairly. Scriptures come in many tongues. They serve different purposes and vary in value, but each suits and serves a group of people in a particular stage of spiritual development. The lessons of an infant are as essential to its future as are the lessons of an older child. Each scripture gives a glimpse of the light, a spiritual revelation from a different viewpoint, but in each case, the light is the same, for there is only one light of truth. However, scriptures need interpretation, for they conceal more than they reveal. They are never just what they appear to be on the surface. If a particular scripture proclaimed that fire actually gives out cold instead of heat, and that the sun really sheds darkness instead of light, the shallow-minded person would turn from it in scorn. But this irresponsible and thoughtless attitude cannot be applied to Scripture, and it would be much wiser to assume that the Scripture intended to convey a meaning and message quite different from the superficially apparent one. Scripture cannot be treated like entertaining and valueless literature. Therefore delve deeply and diligently. The only conclusion an intelligent person can come to is that all great scriptures, read properly and really understood, originate at one source. All are divinely inspired, but the clarity of vision varies considerably, as does the purity of transmission. Each suits particular needs and varying stages of development. Each provides for certain requirements and satisfies specific spiritual capacities. But in all, the essence of truth is watered down, and the brilliance of the light is obscured. This is essential in all scriptures, for it is only when the divinity within is fully awakened that truth and reality can be gazed on. Then the scriptures no longer serve their purpose. More than most, these scriptures reveal only a fraction of the whole on the surface. In worldly matters, in rules of life, and code of conduct, and morals, in all things governing life on earth, they will be interpreted strictly according to their obvious meaning and intent. In all things pertaining to spiritual matters, the afterlife, the divinity, or not strictly concerned with earthly life and existence, they need not necessarily be interpreted literally. For no earthly medium is adequate to express such things concisely. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. Chapter 2, Teachings of Elidor 1. I am a prophet of the written word, a man with many books of wisdom, who comes to you in the name of the Supreme Spirit. I bear proof of my mission for all to see. I was a sleeper in the great stone chambers of initiation. The voices of the instructing spirits spoke to me, and I answered with words of power. I prepared myself by the dread rites, and became worthy to be called an inheritor of the ancient wisdom. They who awaken the sleepers charged me with the burden of a prophet, saying, Go forth into the highways and byways of the land, bearing the scars of one seared by nearness to the flame of truth. Be not a man of pleasure, a son of wickedness. Have no love of comfort and the flattery of fine clothes. Deceive no woman for fleeting satisfaction, nor be deceived by worldly shadows. Here you have seen with the eyes of reality, and know the true nature of earthly things. Are they not shadowy forms without substance, in which no trust can be placed? All earthly things pass away. The loveliness of flowers withers and fades. The beauty of a woman's face slips away with the passing years. The voice of an instructing spirit continued, Go forth, shaker of those who slumber in spirit. Go stir up the minds of men, crying, Awake! Bestir yourselves within the prisons, where you are doomed to decay. Cast off the fetters of worldliness, and uncover the eyes of the soul spirit. Go, gather the sincere seekers, and reveal them a little light. Guide them through the bewitching fairyland of earthly illusion, so they leave it to enter the daylight of truth, and not the darkness of death. Deliver them from the delusions generated in dense bodies. Hearing these things, I said, Who am I to be a prophet to men? My soul spirit, having bathed in the lakes of light, can never again be happy imprisoned within a daily decaying body. The voice of an instructing spirit came to me. Be comforted, my son, by the knowledge of truth. The world as it is we cannot change, for this is the task of men. Go, submit yourself to life, the harsh taskmaster and gentle Savior. Your own good works are not yet sufficient to pay the cost of entry into the place of light. I asked in sorrow, Am I then a man of small righteous credit? And the voice of the instructing spirit replied, Where is the righteous man who is blameless? All men are prone to error, for it is the father of courage and resolution. You have been found reliable in testing and fit for the covenant of prophecy. I speak with the words of the instructing spirits, and I am their mouthpiece to men on earth. They charged me with the burden of a prophet. He is one whose soul spirit is a communicating link with the divine inspirational source. He is one to deliver a message to the world. He is the teacher allocated for the times to teach a particular religious truth. His courage must be tempered with gentleness, and whatever fate decrees, he must always rise above it. He will become an attraction for tribulation, overwhelmed with troubles, rejected and mocked. Then they said to me, in the comfortless darkness illuminated only by the spirit glow, You will be a physician dispensing a bitter draught. The message you bear will not strike men's ears like a charming love song. The words will not fall pleasantly like notes from a well-played harp. Pleasant things are fleeting and stir the hearts of men for only a brief moment. Entertaining things are soon forgotten, and amusing things leave no mark. Your tongue will be a sting, and your mouth a fiery furnace. Men will hear your words, but they will not penetrate to many hearts. Your hearers will say, We are much moved, and our hearts charged with godliness. But these are words of wind, and their hearts will still follow the ungodly inclinations of their desires. When a man enters the great stone chambers of initiation, he receives an infusion of the divine essence. His soul spirit is awakened to conscious awareness and passes out to leave the mortal body still and silent within its tomb. He comes into the presence of beings who know the will of the Supreme Spirit. He learns awful secrets. He knows whence he came and whither he goes. He is one reborn and awakens to rediscover himself. When I heard my fate, I asked for a smooth path and success, and my plea was rejected. Yet from that day I came to love life as never before. From that day I was a lover of truth. Now I no longer have any trust in the world. I am no longer deceived by its ways. I know the world and the works of men, and I know myself. I sought for my soul spirit, and I found myself. 10,000 worlds and their mysteries are meaningless to me. I found truth, and she stands higher than all the worlds. In the place of terror, I saw other things. I learned the secret of the serpent with its tail in its mouth. I saw the workings of the spawn of evil and the fungus of corruption. I gazed upon the dark ones, and when they saw me, they became vicious. They sought to attach themselves to me, for burdens of wickedness are added to those who affiliate themselves with evil. But I was strengthened against them, and came forth uncontaminated. When the implications of my fate awoke knowledge in my heart, I wept in the spirit-lit darkness. For my wife, for my children, for would they not become fatherless? Who would harness the oxen and scatter the seed over the soil? Who would tend the sheep and stand guard? Who would protect from intruders? The voice within the tomb chamber spoke of fate and destiny and the things which were unalterable. It said, "The path of the prophet is beset with sorrow. Your house is destined to become desolate, and no human hands could have deflected the blow of fate. Your lands shall be abandoned to wild creatures, and many years shall pass before they are resown." Then I said, "Let my wife be spared, and the children of my body, for they will be comforters to me along the way, and strengthen my heart in service." The voice of the instructing Spirit replied, "Were these things within my power to grant, gladly would it be done. But you have been chosen as a prophet, and the way is hard and lonely. In the years ahead, your family will be mankind, and your companions the accompanying spirits. The road is long, and its end rests in eternity. Fear lurks by the wayside, doubt haunts the forest to be traversed, and worldly temptations will be like wolves at your heels. But you can look forward to the joy of reunion at the destination. And though the way is hard, the journey is not in vain." Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. Book of the Silver Bough, Chapter 3, Teachings of Elidor 2. I am the prophet of the day. Now hear my voice. There is a law of compensation. Good always leads to good, and bad always to bad. Whatever the demands made upon you, they are always within reason. To you, who defraud the poor and oppress the weak and defenseless, I tell you, your day is coming. You who make justice a bitter draught, or two-pronged weapon, or who twist the laws of the land to suit selfish ends, you shall not escape the remorseless divine justice. You who hate those who expose your evil ways and drag dark deeds out into the light of day, you scorners of honest men, you bribers and acceptors of bribes, have a pleasant hour, for a grimmer day will dawn. You who harvest in fields you have not plowed, who snatch a few pennies from the poverty-stricken, you who connive with the forces of ignorance, who are self-deceivers, thinking yourselves learned, you who walk in the comforting security of God-bestowed riches, unheeding of your duty, enjoy your hour. The reckoning awaits. You who are self-satisfied, priest-deluded, going about like blind men led by the blind, who dwell under a cloud of shamelessness, gaining riches and power by the ignorance and weakness of others. You who say, "By our own strength we have accomplished our own ends," rejoice while you may. The day will come when you will be severed from your possessions. What will you have then? The inheritance of eternity is for the upright and frugal, but the wicked and wasters shall be shut out from the places of contentment and peace. Hear my voice. Let every man deal justly with another. Speak the truth. Seek the path of true justice, and never say, "We need seek no further." Walk in ways of modesty and simplicity, shunning all forms of deceit and hypocrisy. Seek earnestly and diligently, and surely you will find. But expect no results if you are half-hearted and lukewarm. Hear my voice, for I am one who has tasted the waters of truth at their source. I come to scatter the seeds of wisdom and enlightenment over the whole earth. The edge of my words has been sharpened on the whetstone of inspiration, and the comforting companionship of spirits has stilled the tumult within my bowels. I am a smooth polished arrow shaft of inspiration waiting in the quiver of my mission. My tongue is a sword, stabbing at the cuirass of worldliness to open a wound, exposing the sensitive conscience beneath. Do not delude yourselves that because I am among you, I have chosen you above others. I come among the worst, not the best, and I am charged to go to all men. Yet, though I come as an eagle to strike the foxes who seek to wreck the fowl pen, I come also to salve the wounds of the broken-hearted, and to lead those captive in ignorance to freedom. I come also to those whose hearts are fastened with the bolts of intolerance and prejudice, and to replace misery with beauty and glory in place of degradation. I am a planter of acorns intended to rise up into oak trees of divinity. I am not a prophet of new doctrines, neither do I declare truth to be a new thing. Truth remains always the same, however she is clothed. I am not a foreteller of the future, and do not claim the ability to know the end of any one of you, or even my own. What lies ahead for any one of you is in your own hands. Some things are certainly revealed to me, and these I must reveal to you, for this is the obligation of a prophet. I come among you not as a miracle worker, but as one charged with the duty of warning you openly. Among you are many who make secret mockery of their religion, or who conceal their true beliefs behind a false facade of righteousness. To those I say, beware, awake to truth, for you are deceived by worldliness. They have failed the test of life. They are victims of its delusions. Hear my voice. Every man is the maker of himself. This is truth. No man can intercede for another, and could anyone sacrifice his soul spirit for another, such sacrifice would not be permitted by the Supreme Spirit, who is the essence of justice. As a man makes himself, so will he be known. Do not reject me, because I differ not from you. Had the powers above chosen one of their number to be a messenger, and sent him down among men, then surely the appointed one would have taken the form of a man. He would have been clothed as men are clothed, and eaten as men eat. He would not have been some freakish creature having wings or 2 heads. Man's body was made to serve man, and if a messenger from above comes to men, shall it not serve him also? Therefore I speak in the words of men, and act as men act. I make no claim to be more than man. If you say to yourselves, why should we listen to this one, who is no more than a man seeking to change our ways and undermine the teachings of our fathers? I say, have I come with guileful tongue and lips coated with honey? Do I wear garments of silk and linen and eat at tables of luxury? I do not come to speak pleasantries to you, but to declare the harsh and unavoidable truth. What I bring is not a honeyed drink, but a bitter draught. Are these the wares of a false prophet? If I am in error, then all I endure is in vain. If I am wrong, then on me is the punishment. But I have the assurance of certainty. What I have can be any man's if he is prepared to suffer and endure as I did. I make no claim to having received illumination as a gift or as a reward of righteousness. I received it because I toiled and suffered for it. I paid for it in anguish and austerity. I deprived myself of worldly pleasures and comforts for spiritual knowledge. Do you expect to obtain what I paid for so dearly for nothing? To know truth, you must accept my word or follow the road I trod. You have the choice. If the things of which I speak be fabricated by myself, or be the fruits of my imagination, then I am like one who labors without wages, for I toil and suffer without gain. Even worse, I damned myself before the judgment seat of truth. Therefore, if I am convinced of their truth, what cause have you to doubt my words? I do not come before you declaring myself the confidant of the Supreme Spirit, the knower of secrets unattainable by others. I do not lay claim to miraculous powers. Neither do I pretend to have the ability to forgive sins. These things are beyond the ability of any man. This I do declare to you. I am no superior being. No angel descended from the heavens above. I am a man such as you. Will you not hear me as brother listens to brother? Will you pay less attention because I am cast in the same mold as yourselves? Hear my voice, for I have come to awaken those who sleep. I come to lead the blind. I am the eyes of those who do not see. I am not a beguiler, promising soft beds or comfort. I come as a warner against those who promise an easy way, and I raise my voice against any who lull you into indolence by declaring the ability to intercede for you. There is no easy way, and no one can intercede for another. Each man is the master of his own fate. As each man plants, so shall he garner, and as he molds himself, so shall he come forth. There is always a day of reckoning. Long years I struggled and prepared myself, seeking to discover truth and the purpose of life. Then the day came when I entered into the sleep which awakens the soul spirit. Then when the truth was revealed, I saw myself as one seeking for selfish ends, for the satisfaction and contentment of knowing. When first I was charged with the burden of a prophet, my heart cried out, "Is it for this greater affliction that I have suffered and toiled? Where is my reward?" I, who should be strong, was weak. The inner voice of my conscience came to my aid, and I obeyed its command. I devoted my full attention to the instructing voices. I tested them for reality, and knew they were no delusion. I act upon only the knowledge and proofs I have been given. I am not a bearer of idle tales. Do you think me such a fool as to sacrifice all I held dear, to give up all I possessed, to come and preach a false doctrine to those who would repay me with nothing but scorn? Do you consider me so lacking in wit that I would commit such an act of folly? Do not disregard what I have to say. The words I speak were dearly bought. Do you treat them contemptuously because it was not you who paid the price? Hear and heed. I come to proclaim the way of truth. I can neither save you from the effects of your own errors, nor remit even the slightest transgression. I can only point the way. I can only offer myself as a guide. I cannot drive you. I cannot carry you. Neither can I assume responsibility for your fate. If you are bent under a burden of sorrow, then I will lighten your load. If you are oppressed, I will come to your aid. If you are lonely, then I am your friend. My hand is ever ready to help. All things within my power to give, I gladly offer, whether they be of this world or transcending it. False promises to gain popularity, fair words to make friends, appeasing words to turn away anger, those I cannot give. A day will come when we shall all stand naked before the glare of truth. That day I do not fear. Can the comforting prophets, so readily acceptable, speak likewise? Sons of fools are fathers of fools. If you will not accept my words of truth, you deny them to your children. Revile me as you will. Sheep bleat and asses bray, but the stalking wolf makes no reply. You clamor for signs and say, cause these trees to become uprooted and dance, this well to flow with wine, or he who died 3 days ago to rise up from the grave and live, and we will believe. You ask for childish things contrary to any law, and therefore beyond my power. Even could I perform such miracles to gain your belief, I would refrain. For what would such belief be worth? Just one miracle could convert the whole of mankind, but even then the price is too high for such a worthless gain. Go your own ways. Follow your undisturbing beliefs. Had it been in accord with the creating intent, you could all have been born perfect in righteousness. But what would you have been then? Mere puppets dangling from the hand above. The divine intent was not to create puppets. What end could they serve? The Supreme Spirit wants men with free will, capable of decision, free men reaching upwards to divinity, choosing it of their own accord. I follow my belief, you follow yours, me to my end, you to yours. You look upon me and say in your hearts, can we believe him? Yes, look upon me and see how I live. Do I not live by my own words? Now, look upon those who declare me to be a false prophet. Who are they? Are they not those who trample others underfoot in a scramble for power? Do they not thrust the orphan aside and permit the poor to starve in the midst of plenty? Who is the less hypocritical? The man to follow and believe. May the woes of the world descend upon those who pray with the lips while their hearts remain dead and unmoved. Likewise those who display devotion in public places but turn a hungry man away from their back gate. Let them suffer no less who worship in the daylight, but in the darkness of night indulge in whispers of scandal and deceit. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. The Silver Bough. Chapter 4, Teachings of Elidor 3. Hear my voice. Listen to my words. Obey these rules of conduct. If any man names you a liar or treats you as one, have no further dealings with him. Keep away from the smooth-tongued man with oily ways, for he is unworthy of your friendship. Keep your face unsmiling in the presence of a man who uses vile language. What spews from his mouth is the overspill of the rottenness within. He is empty and weak, and, if encouraged, will spread his disease far and wide. All things which really benefit man, whether materially or spiritually, and do no harm, are good and should be encouraged. They are the particles of progress. If a man comes to you and says he has a secret knowledge of benefit to man, then hear him fairly. Bear with him patiently, for if he is sincere, even though you derive no benefit and are told nothing new, his sincerity needs encouragement. Though it is well to convert others to the way of truth, tread warily. Many will seek to lay snares for you, or to find some hidden vice, but if you live as your conscience dictates, you will go free, and they will become ensnared. Those who call your belief false are themselves blinded by the scales of gullibility and held fast in the meshes of their own net of ignorance. As the blind can never see, so are these inconvincible. Did the Supreme Spirit himself come down and manifest to them, they would declare it to be only an illusion. Men believe what they want to believe, and see what they want to see. Leave them to form themselves as they will. The day will come when they will see themselves as they actually are, and on that day fear will overcome them. They will not know where to run. All their cunning and trickery will not avail them then. Their words of scorn and mockery will rise up within them as bitter bile rises into the mouth. Have compassion for them, for on the dread day they will stand alone. Their waiting companions, the uncomforting horrors, skulking just beyond their sight. Those who have no desire for truth will never be convinced of its existence. There are many who do not believe in the existence of the Supreme Spirit, in their own mortality, because they fear to do so, not because it conflicts with their reason or inclinations. Even if a door could be opened into heaven through which they could look, they would say, "It is all an illusion. We are under some kind of spell." Hear my voice, listen to my words. I have books of ancient wisdom, giving guidance towards the light. I teach from them, and if they remain hidden, it is to keep them from the hands of the despoilers. You, who remain with face set towards the darkness of disbelief, go your way. If your affairs appear to prosper better than the affairs of those who walk in the light, do not deceive yourselves. The Supreme Spirit is compassionate, and they prosper because he pities you for your future fate. In his mercy, he is granting you an abundance of pleasure in this life. Enjoy it while you may. To you who hear my voice, I say, let these things not bother you, or appear unjust. It is proper that the just and upright should suffer, for they are the chosen ones to be tested for greater things. The weak horse is never heavy laden. You who withdraw, closing your ears to my words, who erect a barrier around your hearts so my teachings cannot penetrate, follow your way. You take your road and I will take mine. But when the gloom closes about you, do not say, "We have been treated unjustly." If any injustice is done, it will be by yourselves to yourselves. The wickedness you have done will then recoil upon you. The truth you derided will have caught up with you. Laugh if you will, but laugh well, for your laughter will come to an end. Beyond it lies an ocean of tears. You mockers who ask to be shown the man who has returned from beyond the grave, so he can describe what it is like. You say, "Only by this will our doubts be stilled." Who am I to change the order of things and still your doubts? I have not come to bring assurances, but as a warner and awakener. Why do you talk like this? If my teachings do not stir your hearts to response, they will not be forced upon you. Many times I have been tempted to withhold part of my message, knowing you would hold it to scorn. I have been faint-hearted when others have mocked, saying, "Bring down a spirit from heaven, or disclose the hiding place of treasure, and we will believe." Hard is the road of a prophet, and that is all I am, not a conjurer. You turn from me, saying one to the other, "What does he want of us?" or "Where lies his gain?" I ask nothing from you, except a receptive mind. I ask no riches, I seek no payment. My reward lies in the knowledge of a duty done, in a clear conscience, in having done my best. Were I seeking wealth, or even fame, this is the last way I would set about it. I speak with a true voice. I am no deceiver, with some subtle end in view. I make no claim to possessing sacred treasures of wisdom. I make no claim to the knowledge of hidden mysteries or great secrets. I am not an angel, nor a spirit sent direct from heaven. I am one of your own kind. I am not a hypocrite seeking to curry favor by taking your side against those who ridicule your own views. I stand alone, asking favor of no man. I speak according to my heart. As my heart, so my lips. My words are true. If I did not utter them, I would be a coward and a betrayer of all I hold dear. Wait and listen. Do not worship vainly and to no purpose. Serve the Supreme Spirit, for there is none greater to serve. If you think otherwise, you devise false things. Take my teachings into your hearts. I offer them gladly, asking no reward. Will you not open your hearts and incline towards the truth? You demand proof of my prophecy, that I am what I declare myself to be. You say the darkness of the tomb has smitten me with madness, and ask me to join you and become cured. May the protecting spirits bear witness that I do not join in ignorance and darkness. The proof of a true prophet is in the way of his life. Have I ever lived otherwise than in accordance with my teachings? False prophets gain worldly things. True prophets suffer unrewarded, without complaint. Even then, what they suffer in the sight of men is only a small part of the whole burden. You mock my teachings, declaring them to be false and foolish. You are suspicious of them. What do you fear? Be honest with yourselves. Is it not because they disturb you, that inwardly you know their truth? I have not come to bring you consolation. I come to cause you anxiety. I do not speak words of comfort, but words of urgency. Change your ways now, before it is too late. The road back is long and tiresome. I speak with the voice of the Supreme Spirit. I serve Him, and to Him is my life dedicated. Were I to demand a sign from Him to bolster my own faith, would I not be unworthy of His trust, and a failure as a prophet? Did I demand a sign to show you, would He not think me weak? It does not need a prophet to convert by signs and miracles. Anyone could succeed by this means. The true prophet is needed when it is more difficult, when the opposition is really tough. A true prophet speaks harsh words. He is known by his unpopularity. You may ask me whether it is my desire that you should abandon the worship of your fathers. This is not my desire. Retain all that is good and beneficial. Reject all that serves no purpose. You accuse me of being too solemn. You say I have lost the ability to laugh, that I set my face against merriment. In all this, you wrong me, for I never set myself against laughter and happiness. In all things, there must be balance. Laughter and happiness have their place, but they are not things of supreme importance. You say, why should we not deal with our possessions and our lives as we wish? They are ours. I say, where the wishes and inclinations of a man's heart lead him along the most beneficial road, then follow them. But no man has sufficient wisdom within himself to know where his benefit lies. Therefore, he must seek guidance, if he be truly wise. Which is the wiser, to deal with your lives according to the promptings of inclinations and desires, or to live them in a way most beneficial to yourselves? Through my own efforts and sacrifices, through application and long years of patient endeavor, I have been granted an insight into the nature of things. I have been given a clear revelation, and also been charged with making it known to men. What I have has been bought dearly. Why then do you mock my teachings, or doubt my sincerity? Have I asked anything from you except a change of heart? You mock me, saying, we cannot understand the import of your great teachings. Or you deride me, saying, were it not that we have pity on your state of madness, we would drive you away from us. For your sakes I have given up all that I possessed. I have left all I hold dear. Can you not spare me a few moments of your time? You ask, why did not the Supreme Spirit make all men to conform to one creed, one belief? This he could have done, but it would not serve his end. These are not superficial teachings. Can you not spare time to consider them? You say, I am no more than a man like yourselves. This is true. You say, I am powerless among you, that I remain only because of your benevolence and goodwill. If you think me powerless, you are mistaken. In the stone chambers, I learned secrets of power beyond your conception. Do not think me helpless because I come among you with humility and restraint. Had I so desired, my knowledge could have brought me riches and position. Instead, I chose to live as I do and follow the road of a true prophet. Is this not proof enough of my sincerity? The times are good. There are bountiful harvests, and the land is at peace. Men come and go without fear. Pleasure and comfort are to be found on every side. It is a bad time for prophets. Turbulence and trouble are needed to stir the hearts of men, to lift up their eyes to greater things. When a man is beset with trouble, he turns to spiritual things for consolation and help. But no sooner has it passed than he reverts to his former ways. The man who pillows his head on a log is more likely to pray than one who lays on a pillow of down. Many among you have come forward in a half-hearted manner and said, We have heard and believe. We are followers of your teachings. The day came when they were called upon to make sacrifices for their beliefs. Then there was a speedy sorting out. Some regarded their afflictions as chastisements from above, being still unable to understand the nature of suffering. When misfortune came upon them, they said, The Supreme Spirit is against us. When the sun of fortune shone, they said, The Supreme Spirit is with us. How little they know of Him. Heaven and earth have been formed for a serious purpose, for a great and glorious end. Man is blind to them because of his small-mindedness. I speak of wonderful things, while you answer me, referring to miserable matters. I am a plain man. I claim no extraordinary powers beyond acquisition by any other. I am not a conjurer or a sorcerer. My mission is to choose those who wish to serve the Supreme Spirit. I come from the silence of solitude. I am not a man gifted with eloquence. Did I come performing miracles, all would follow me. Even the hypocrite and evildoer would be among those who walked the road. Who then could separate the chaff from the grain, the weak from the strong, those worthy of divinity from those who are not? All creation is upheld by the law, and the value of the law is revealed in the fact that even the Supreme Spirit does not act against it. It would be less beneficial for men if miracles were performed by the prophets. If the law is good, it must be strictly applied. If men are insincere and shiftless, the performances of miracles will not strengthen their hearts. They are like voyagers at sea. A storm rises, and they are distressed. It abates, and they rejoice. When the winds roar and the waves mount up, they pray and proclaim their repentance. They profess their intention of living a new life, if saved. Yet when they come safe to land again, they forget all that passed. they return to their previous ways. They commit self-injuring excesses and deeds of selfishness. Only further affliction brings these to an end. Can you not understand? Hear my voice, those who miserably bewail their misfortunes. When troubles beset you, and new trials confront you every day, know you are being tested. Life itself is a necklace of tests. Accept with fortitude whatever test life presents, saying in your heart when meeting each one, however this may appear now, it is for my ultimate good. You too talk of miracles. You seek miraculous solutions for your problems. Do you not understand the nature of free will, and that miracles are contrary to it, as well as to the law? Were they part of normal life, your fear of divine intervention or reliance upon divine power would sap your independence and stifle the expression of free will. Your choice between evil and good would no longer be free, and you would become more of puppets and less of men. Face up to every trial, for only the tests successfully undergone and the good deeds done have lasting value. To merely while away the time, to take the easy path through life, turning aside at every obstacle, has no value whatsoever. No two persons have the same abilities and inclinations. Therefore, let each man serve the Supreme Spirit according to his endowments. Do not try to imitate another in service, for such imitation accomplishes less. Follow the road of your own choosing. Serve to the best of your ability. Live a good life. Little more can be required of any man. However, do not close your eyes to truth, thinking that service through earthly skill and ability is enough. What you think and what you believe best may all be wrong. You may not even know what is for your own good. You were born without being consulted. You cannot direct your lives according to your desires. You will die, whether you wish it or not. Such is earthly life, and likewise, your condition in the afterlife may not accord with your own designs and will. You say, death is the end of all things, therefore let us live as we will. Are you certain that you can state this as a fact? What do you know of death? The only fact you do know beyond a doubt is that death is the universal lot of men. Therefore exercise caution regarding something you know little about. Shed no tears for those who are already beyond the place of tears. Can weeping console them, or mourning assist them? What is life, or what is death, that you should grieve for either? They come and go. They merge one into the other until neither is distinguishable. Sorrow and joy, pain and pleasure, tumult and peace. They come and go. They play about man and are gone. They are like winds rustling a tree. They pass, and the tree remains unmoved. Life is a lamp-lit room, with two doors leading into the darkness of night. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. The Book of the Silver Bough, Chapter 5, Teachings of Elidor 4. Hear my voice, I condemn the slanderer, the talebearer, the hypocrite. They are the inheritors of darkness, the ones destined for the dismal abyss. I condemn those who amass riches and store possessions against the future, and those who delude themselves that wealth will shield them against the trials of life. These are times of worldliness, when riches are the lure, the obsession of men. Only on the brink of the grave do they see the folly of their ways. Then, when it is too late, they cry out in despair, saying, "Grant us just a little more time." Of what value would more time be to them? They have had sufficient. Food which would sustain widows and orphans is thrown by the rich to their dogs. And they say, this is the natural order of things. I condemn them, not for their riches, but for what they say. Hear the widows and orphans cry, but who will cry beyond the grave? Who will inhabit the grim caverns? Ah, you indolent rich, fatten yourselves up. Surely a lean time lies ahead. Do not shift the blame when your just deserts are meted out. You are the guardians of your future, the preparers of your future abode. I condemn the self-deceivers. They say, with hypocritical lying heart, this may be done and this is forbidden. They split hairs. They have a conscience of convenience. They interpret the message from the formation of a letter. Hear my words, heed what I say. Do not twist the truth so that it becomes lies, and say, these are the rules of conduct for others, at the same time masking your own deeds under a convenient veil of distortion. Never make laws for others which you are unable to keep yourself. Are they better than you? If so, let them make the laws. I raise my voice against mean-minded men. Would there be any justice were they to share the same fate as the generous and self-sacrificing? I condemn cowards. When they are told, "Be men, this is your duty," their hearts quail inside them, their knees tremble, their feet shift. They know their true nature will be revealed, and can find no words to avoid their obligations. Those I do not seek as converts. Let them go their own way. For if there is hardship and persecution, if the followers of truth are to be tested for their worthiness to survive and bear the light, where will they stand? The smug, self-satisfied man is not called upon to follow. If good fortune smiles upon him, he will say, "See what I have been given, though I have done little. I must surely be a worthy man." Self-deceiver, he has been discarded as unworthy of any test. The good fortune has been granted in mercy and compassion. His future fate is awful. I condemn the cowards and hypocrites who go about shouting indignantly against warmongers and injustice. They say, "Restrain yourselves, for we are men of peace." But when the enemy swoops down upon them, or a just war is proclaimed, they say, "Let your hand carry the sword and spear." Those who once shouted boldly now speak in whispers. Their voices are no longer heard. The weaver knows the design of the whole tapestry. The threads, only the color in their own part. This life must be viewed together with the life to come, if it is to be understood. Only the great designer can do this, and he metes out success and failure, joy and sorrow, all the tests of life accordingly. I condemn the man who says, I am pure, I am good. Who is he to judge? Does the polecat think its own smell bad? Does the adder throw away its venom? Only the deluded fool says, I know what is good and what is bad, and need no information on the matter. Heed these words, heed them well. When good fortune comes, men say, I have led a good life, and this is my reward, or this results from my own efforts. If misfortune befalls them, they say, this is the fault of some other, or this is a chastisement from above. I say to you, all things flow from your own destiny. Good and bad are sent alike to test you. Both can be turned to your own benefit or your own undoing. If some of you have done wrong and acted against your own future good, whatever it is, the harm is not irreparable. There is still time. How long is unknowable, but the uncertainty is essential. The damage must be repaired by a constant outpouring of good. And this alone is not enough. The roots of evil must be torn up within you. Felling the tree is insufficient. Those who heed my words and follow my teachings are pilgrims on the path. They must be resolute and resourceful, for the going is tough. Each victory a pilgrim wins contains the promise of a harder one to follow. Every obstacle overcome brings another into view. From birth to death, life is a continual overcoming. The desires of the body and cravings of the flesh are divisible into two parts. Those which draw attention to the needs of the body, these can be satisfied in moderation, and those which bring great spiritual reward through suppression or rechanneling. The man of wisdom knows one from the other. I do not speak of profound things. My words are for the ears of unlettered men. I try to speak within the understanding of every man and woman, and according to their capacity. But because of this, the enlightenment given to the many may have no value to the few. Even so, there will be those who find it beyond their comprehension. My teachings are many-sided, and therefore each must interpret them according to his own capacity for understanding. My words are not for those whose minds are pools of stagnation. A pot filled with stagnant water cannot become a receptacle for the pure waters of wisdom. My words are not for the intolerant and prejudiced. Fresh milk cannot be mingled with sour milk. Hear my voice, for though I speak plainly in unadorned sentences, I have been strengthened with an inflow of power. I have a shield to deflect the words of mockers and scorners. In a sea of hostility, I am not troubled or disturbed. My heart is like flint, and my face confronts the unrighteous like a cliff withstanding the wind. Where are my wordy adversaries? Let them come forward and meet me in open discussion before you. Why do they keep away? Why do they seek refuge behind armed men? It is time to separate the good from the bad, the serviceable from the worthless. The earth is overloaded with useless things. Progress is impeded in a welter of unnecessary things. It is deafened with the clacking of foolish tongues, and overwhelmed in a spate of valueless words. Mankind wallows in the mudhole of a purposeless existence. It must pull itself out, or be drawn under and perish. Many desire fame or greatness, but these come only in accordance with destiny. If it be destined, they will come unbidden. Therefore, do not make these your aim in life. Obey the laws of life as recorded in the Scriptures. Live in accord with your neighbors, for irrelevant quarreling harms all and benefits none. Endure every trial with steadfastness, and between the tests, prepare for the next. Never be caught unprepared. Those who live a good life, maintaining themselves in uprightness and shunning the ways of wickedness, do this for their own good. They are wise, but would be unwise and hypocritical were they to hold it was done for the sake of the Supreme Spirit alone, and not for their own sakes. Some have been given riches in abundance. They lack none of the good things of life. Others have nothing, and their burdens are grievous and heavy. I have heard men say, "What kind of God makes this the order of things?" But it is not God. It is man who establishes this as the order of things. The Supreme Spirit will not undertake the tasks of men. Neither will he withdraw the tests of temptation when they are placed in the paths of men. The Supreme Spirit has made a law covering the dealings between men. They are judged with a greater justice than earth can ever know. It differentiates between the powerless slave who owns nothing and the man abundantly supplied with wealth and possessions. A kind word, or drink of water, from a man in bondage is of greater value than gold pieces from a man of wealth. A poor man who gives from compassion or comradeship does so in goodness. But the goodness of a rich man, giving in consciousness of charity, or from pride in his possessions and position, lacks the same purity. It is tainted. Whose goodness has the highest quality? That of the poor man who shares all his food and clothing with a fellow man, or that of a rich man who gives 2 pieces of gold from the thousands in his treasury? The same law differentiates between the maimed and afflicted, and those who are whole and healthy, between the strong and the weak, the dull-minded and the keen-minded man. The law is, from each man according to his abilities and means. the feeling and intent behind an act give it value. I speak again to the cowards, for in these pleasant times, who knows where they are? There has been no sorting out. Only their loud voices betray them, their love of comfort, their lack of hardihood, their appreciation of womanly things. They say, "Would that times were different, and we had a call to action." But when a matter is placed at issue, when the opposition is aggressive and immovable, they melt like wax images before the heat of fire. Their hearts tumble, their bellies turn to water. They turn their eyes aside and mumble excuses. They say, "We have a sickness," or "We have many responsibilities." Far better were they better men with enough courage to admit their own cowardice. There are others, not cowards, who have a point of weakness in their family ties. Wives and children cause men to stray from the strict path of duty. But for this, the wives and children are to be forgiven. Obligations have an order of precedence, which is to be strictly observed. Few men are so unbiased that they can decide such things for themselves. A wife and children are the sun of a man's life. They are almost indispensable to his full development. Yet they, like riches and power, are sources of trial, a means of testing, and every man should act in the light of this knowledge. By doing so, his life will be more harmonious and beneficial. He should also bear in mind that his relationship with all his family is judged according to a law similar to the one just mentioned. As he treats them, how he acts, so is he judged. The family living in a hovel of poverty is not expected to conform to such a high standard as the one in a place of plenty. That the former does is to its credit. That the latter fails, and its standard falls below the other, is to its discredit. There will be a proper accounting. Those who live contently, snug in the bosom of their family, safe at home, going placidly about their daily affairs, untroubled by the call of the cause or the demands of duty, shall not be treated or judged like those who sacrifice and serve. The placid and indolent are not judged the same as those who struggle resolutely and endure steadfastly. The constant and the inconstant are not treated alike. Their merits are in no way similar. There is a greater recompense of merit for those who turn their back on home comforts than for those who remain content with peace and placidity. These are times of peace and prosperity, but are they times of inner stability? Those born less fortunately, who have fought in bloody wars, who have been driven away homeless, who have endured famine, imprisonment, or persecution, have learned that mutual suffering is the cement of humanity. The sweet flowers of friendship and understanding are found in the deserts of despair and distress, not in the pastures of pleasure and prosperity. Peace and prosperity cannot remain with you forever. Therefore, when trouble and strife descend upon you, as they have in the past. Remember that the pattern of life is one of light and shade. Happiness and sorrow, success and failure, contentment and strife are sent alternatively among men, that the good may be known from the bad, the strong from the weak, the true from the false, the straightforward man from the hypocrite, and the selfish one from the unselfish. Now I will speak about deceitfulness, the evil rampant among you. Nay, do not seek to drown my words in an avalanche of mockery. Honest men do not fear truth. Words of truth do not beat painfully against their ears. There is no deceit so profound as the deceit of the self-deceived. They are prisoners in a cell of their own building, and have cast the key into the moat outside. They may hide their true selves from others in this life, and think they have done well, but there will be no such deception in the life to come. Some self-deceivers stand before me, half their thoughts proclaiming their goodness, and the others preparing acts of deceit. Others say, "We are good, we are just," and twist the words of the Scriptures with their own interpretations, and misquote to comply with their own convenience. They cannot deceive one who sees the reflection of their inner image, but they may deceive you, for they put on the face of plausibility. I see behind the mantle of goodness displayed to the eyes, and discover the rottenness hidden underneath. The alms they give, the good deeds they perform, are no more than palliatives to their consciences. They blow themselves up to appear great in the eyes of men, but there is nothing inside except wind. Beneath the mortal surface there is a puny thing, weak and withered. Could these only see their future fate, they would surely cry, "We are treated unjustly," maintaining their self-deceit. But who is unjust to them if it is not themselves? To you who are healthy-minded, I say, keep well away from those self-deceivers, for if they do not corrupt you, they will surely lead you astray. Take no notice of what they say. Their words are false. Seek rather to discover the things hidden in the alcoves of their hearts. Some deceivers have come to me and said, "We believe your teachings, and wish to follow your way." In their hearts they do not believe, and they act from base motives. Because they are blind, they think I, too, cannot see. I may lack all worldly possessions and wealth, but I do have a treasure beyond price, granted me in the great stone chambers. My eyes can see the inner likeness of men. I cannot be deceived by words. Some of you, who are pilgrims on the way, will find many seeking to gain your confidence and appearing willing to repudiate their own kind. Have no dealings with them. A man who would betray his faith, his race, his nation, his convictions, or his family, is a weak reed from which no support can be expected, and upon which no reliance can be placed. If he plots your downfall, return cunning with cunning. It is not wrong to slay a snake with a snake's venom. If you disregard a man who schemes against you, you support his cause. Those totally ignorant of truth can do little harm. But those who know truth and disguise her are dangerous. Those who alter the appearance or mask the face of truth are servants of evil. Among them are those who turn the words of the Scriptures to suit their own ends. They say, "This is the true meaning. It is more convenient, less harsh." Or they say, "This we know is written, but we do not obey. It is too exacting. We accept part and discard part." Get rid of them. They confuse the genuine seeker for the truth and mutilate truth with their knife of selectivity. You ask, why do the good suffer as well as the bad? Why are the innocent afflicted as well as the guilty? It is because mankind is a single whole. If an arm is wounded, the whole body suffers. Men are not strictly divided into good and bad, guilty and innocent. Those who suffer or are afflicted through the faults and failings of others derive the greatest kind of benefit. Just as the soul spirit experiences pleasure, so must it experience pain. Were it otherwise, the pleasure would have no value. Can light be known without the contrasting darkness? If a man is prepared to accept pleasure and happiness from contact with others, should he not also be prepared to participate in their sorrow and suffering? Pain is unpleasant. Agony sometimes unendurable, but they can be accepted and borne by a realization of their objective, the knowledge that they have a purpose and end. Suffering and strife have made man what he is. He suffers things unknown to lesser creatures, which do not know the pains of remorse, regret, shame, and disgrace. It is suffering and sorrow, not pleasure and happiness, that have raised man to his present height. You ask, how can the troubles and tribulations of the good be reconciled with the statement that the Supreme Spirit is the fountainhead of justice, goodness, and mercy? They can be. Man must tread the hard road of sorrow and suffering, because it is an inescapable route on the journey to claim his inheritance. Man has won the right to make the pilgrimage. He has passed the simple tests. Should he balk at the greater ones along the way? My people, hear my voice. I am your prophet. Transmute the dark memories of your sorrows into light seeds of spirituality. The pearl of perfect peace lies in the dregs within the cup of suffering. The haven of happiness lies across the turbulent seas of strife. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. The Book of the Silver Bough, Chapter 6, Teachings of Elidor 5. Truth cannot be destroyed or changed. She cannot be stripped and displayed to the eyes of men. Wisdom and knowledge cannot be trampled underfoot by turning the sword against their upholders. I may not be powerful. I carry no weapons. My voice may be weak, but better men will come in days unborn, and they will sing glad songs of light. The night of ignorance will have its end. I speak to the toil-worn, to those heavy burdened with labor. In the bondage of servitude, you are free, because you are not shackled with cravings begotten by idleness. The idle rich are not free. They are slaves to their possessions. They suffer under the lash of their thoughts. Labor is not toil and nothing else. Its rewards extend beyond worldly things. This is one of the tragedies of the rich who are denied them. Even the prophets of the past have not seen clearly the rewards of labor. I will teach you the truth, and it will make you free. There is a right way to labor, and there is a wrong way. There is also a way of labor that is full of song, and a way that is silent. Both play their part. Men should choose their form of labor, and not have it thrust upon them. In it they should find contentment and self-expression. Then it will not become wearisome. The man who would be happy and contented must seek a form of labor free from anxious thoughts and fanciful desires. It must bring satisfaction and confer benefit. These things have been said before, but I say them again. Do not pursue vain hopes, or seek too high a reward. Ask only for a just return, and remain your own master. It is unwise to seek a position too great for your abilities. By so doing, you burden yourself with a life of straining. Be satisfied with whatever fate decrees, and whatever problems perplex you, rise above them. Be without jealousy, never envious of another's position. Meet success and failure with equal poise, and your labor will not be burdensome. Learn to see the hand of the Supreme Spirit in all things, and make your labor the sacrifice, your toil the offering to Him. No others are asked than these: care and diligence, honesty and skill, being your form of worship. You worship well. Diligence in the task, a life of moderation, dedication of wealth, leisure hours filled with service or study. These are proper sacrifices, not poor dumb creatures. Those who curtail pleasures and then do nothing useful with the time gained are fools. To abstain from enjoyment, to serve beneficial ends, is good. So also is dedication of worldly wealth beyond modest needs. Giving an honest day's labor for wages, living modestly and frugally, without meanness and harsh austerity. These two are worthy and acceptable sacrifices. It is through sacrifices such as these that the soul spirit is truly glorified. Neither contentment in this world, nor happiness in the world to come, is for those who do not know the meaning of sacrifice. All good works, all honest labor, all charitable deeds, all payments of full and fair wages, not futile burnings, are worthy sacrifices. Another form of sacrifice is the time devoted to studying the Scriptures. Open your hearts to my words. I speak only for your benefit. My voice is not raised for my own amusement. There is much talk about the wickedness and arrogance of the rich. Have I said this? It is not only they who are wicked and arrogant, and no man can be called wicked just because he is rich. Wealth does not necessarily serve evil. What matters is how persons deal with the inheritance entrusted to them. Not only riches, but also strength, beauty, or talent. Search your own hearts before condemning others. It is not only the rich who are idle. Each of you, ask yourself how you would fare under the test of riches, and answer honestly. Is it certain you are not reviling the rich through envy? Are you sure there is no hypocrisy in your hearts? Wealth is no light burden, and few, very few, survive a severe test. But there are others, men of unusual ability, women of great beauty or talent. They too often fail. Look within before you look without. Like those other things, labor is a challenge. The outcome can be a gain or a loss, victory or defeat. The slovenly man who labors only to supply his needs is one on whom life is wasted. The man who declines to utilize mind and limbs to the utmost is no better than the man whose riches permit him to live a life of uselessness. The fault lies with the man, not his money. The enjoyments that flow from worldly things bear within themselves seeds of sorrow to come. Worldly pleasures are passing things, and peace and content are not to be found in them. The man on the right path is one who considers the earthly rewards of effort less valuable than the spiritual gain. All men become pilgrims on the way when their labor and efforts are dedicated to serving mankind. They reach out for spirituality when they find pleasure in their task. The man who labors with zest and dedication, even though the result be small, is a better man than one who lacks these qualities. Even as in all fire there is smoke, so in all things created by men there will be some imperfection. For perfection lies outside this world. The best man can do is strive towards perfection. Whatever he turns his hand to, make it the goal. You may think me a doleful prophet, preaching the glory of the sorrowful path, but this I am not. The inclinations of men lure them from the road, to turn them back. I too must leave the road and take a stand where the inclinations have led them. I do not speak of things supporting them along the way, but of things leading them astray. I say to you, seek happiness. Enjoy yourselves. Life is meant to be more light than shade. I also say, these things cannot be made the whole aim in life. See them in proper perspective. Happiness is not the goal of earthly life. It is a reward along the way. Everyday life is governed by duty and obligation, not happiness and pleasure. To be over-concerned with happiness and contentment is the surest way to unhappiness and restlessness. Submission to the will of the Supreme Spirit is the surest means of avoiding too much suffering and frustration. Knowledge of His will comes from careful study of the Scriptures. Joyfully accept whatever destiny bestows, be it joy or sorrow, good or ill. If you are blessed with many gifts, there is no better way to indicate your gratitude than just being quietly and contentedly happy, finding pleasure in even the smallest things. A man's trust in the goodness of the Supreme Spirit must not depend on the outward circumstances surrounding that man. This is a very important thing to remember. He should try and quell all expectations and preferences, accepting cheerfully whatever comes his way. The man who serves best rises above all desire attachments and sense allurements, his only earthly ties being those of love, duty, and obligation. To know the will of the Supreme Spirit, and will what He wills, that is the supreme secret of spirituality. Laboring to fulfill that will is to worship with the daily task, a most profitable form of worship. I say, let the will of the Supreme Spirit be supreme, and subordinate all earthly labors to it. The path of life is on a mountainside. Man can ascend or descend according to his inclinations. He can take the hard or the easy way. Upwards is the light, downwards the darkness. Man has the choice. He goes where he pleases. I speak to you as a warner, and I warn against the ways of evil men. They are selfish men, unheedful of the good of others, the good which includes them. Their thoughts do not extend beyond themselves and their own. They seek to isolate themselves from mankind when the good of mankind is an issue. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do not understand the nature of good conduct and the path of truth. They say, mankind has no need for goodness. It has no moral foundation. There is no way of knowing the truth. There is no Supreme Spirit, no creating God. All creation is the result of chance, and lust is the only cause of birth. The only purpose of life is an earthly one. We begin and end in the dust. Set in the ways of this belief, these unconscious soul spirits dutifully serve the cause of evil, working, though they know not, for the destruction of mankind. They taint their soul spirits with unrestricted desires and stain them with uncontrolled urges. Full of arrogance and deceit, they ride roughshod over the spiritual inclinations of others and hold fast to their own dark belief. Their destructive work is carried on in the name of progress. Yet with all they have, they are unhappy and discontented. They are loaded with many unnecessary cares, and their restless thoughts never give them peace. They fruitlessly seek happiness in sensual enjoyments, in pleasure and gaiety, in the frivolities of life, in drinking and gambling, in luxury and ease, firmly believing they will find it there, that life can offer no more. They are bound fast with fetters of worldliness. They are blind and insensitive to anything else. They seethe within. Anger, spitefulness, indignation, and malice are relieving outlets. They seek refuge in lies and deceit. They hope for relief in outbursts of temper, in lust and sensuality, and in foul language. Their only aim is to amass wealth and possessions, or to live a life of idleness and ease. They cannot understand what drives them on. They say, "What I have earned. It is my own. With it I will acquire whatever I need to satisfy my desires. I have amassed riches. I have come to a high position. Men look up to me. I am praised and honored. I can buy what I desire. I will enjoy life. I am a success. Who else is like me? I give charity. I fulfill my religious obligations. I am sought after by those who need advice and help. I live comfortably. I eat well. I have all I need." This they say. But are they really happy and at peace? Are they really successful, having all they want? No. They speak from the darkness of delusion, though they know it not. They have been deceived by the trap of earthly conditions. They have fallen prey to the alluring phantoms of the senses. They are entangled in a net of delusion. They wander in the deep fog of illusion. They are slaves to their urges, captives of their cravings. They are bound and helpless in a chariot drawn by runaway horses, carried swiftly towards the yawning abyss. Weak men become drunk with the heady draughts of power and riches. They are carried away by their own arrogance and deceit. They try to turn earthly condition towards serving their own ends, and struggle futilely against the law. Willing slaves of arrogance and selfishness, helpless victims in the stormy seas of rage, lust, and violence. These servants of evil hate the divinity within themselves. They hate and fear the still small voice inside. They stifle it. They smother it under the loud clamor of gaiety. They seek solace in strong wine, in sense-stimulating entertainment, and in spirit-poisoning drugs. Stand aside. Let them be carried swiftly to the place of sorrow and vain regret. Hear my voice and do not fall into the trap of worldliness. Do not fall willing victims to the allurements of phantoms. Look for reality. Be satisfied with nothing less than truth. Do not reject the Scriptures. Study them carefully, and you will have a guide through your life. They will reveal the right and wrong. Follow their light. Do what has to be done. No more is expected of you. Heed what I say, for I am your friend. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. The Book of the Silver Bough, Chapter 7, Teachings of Elidor 6. I will speak to you about the commonplace man. He is one in whom there is neither spirituality nor spiritual aspiration. He is not righteous, but neither is he really wicked, and he does not have any ingrained evil qualities. Because he knows neither vices or virtues, such a man is untried and untested. He does not know what are the qualities needing development and what are the evils to avoid. He serves the cause of evil though he is no more than a mere pawn. No man can stand aside from the conflict. Men such as these are unwittingly drawn into the service of evil. The commonplace man has an understanding of good conduct. He is genteel. He is cultured. People like him. He is at ease with them. They seek his company. He is useful to them as they are to him. But though he is full of worldly knowledge, he has little knowledge or understanding of the Scriptures, or of things transcending earthly existence. He cannot soar into the heights. His feet are planted solidly on the ground, but his wings are undeveloped. He cannot rise above the ordinary. His behavior is that of the common crowd. He is a commonplace man. He has learnt from earthly experience and associations what conduct is right and what is wrong to serve worldly ends. This is not enough. To live fully and to good purpose, he must know more. The commonplace woman is like the commonplace man. She moves easily in her earthly environment, but is incapable of raising her eyes above it. She has so much to stir the hearts of men. She can be so desirable, yet she fails to inspire them. She can goad them on towards earthly goals, but not to anything greater. She can fan the flame of ambition in her children, but cannot inspire them to look beyond the world. Commonplace people have commonplace traits and weaknesses. I will speak of one, revengefulness. An unjustifiable seeking for revenge springs from an inner weakness. The mean and servile person is most addicted to it. Malice, like revenge, is a trait of the weak, not of the strong. If someone wrongs you without cause, do not let this disturb your tranquility of mind. Do nothing else except scorn them. In this way, you will not be unnecessarily upset, but will also be revenged without any need for inflicting it. The tearing wind and flashing darts of lightning leave the sun and moon untroubled. Their anger is vented on trees and plants below. So it is with wrongs done by mortals. The wrongs do not disturb the hearts of superior men, but cause turmoil in the fainter hearts of inferior men. You laugh, you mock me and say, "We prefer life among the commonplace people, for they are easier to get along with. They do not criticize us." It is true, they will not. If they are unconcerned about their own future, how can they be considerate about yours? You ask why it is that the righteous people keep to themselves, while the wrongdoers are more companionable. The answer is simple. Those who live good lives walk in the light, and so do not fear to be alone. They have the companionship of the Spirit. The wrongdoers, however, walk in darkness, and so have need of company, for they are secretly afraid. Not long since, one came to me and said, "Prophet, I have offended against the law of the land, but not against the law of the Scriptures. Am I blameless? I tell you this, the law of the land may extend out beyond the law of the Scriptures, but should not conflict with it. The law outside the Scriptures must also be obeyed. The law of the land is not perfect. It is made by men and cannot claim to be perfect. It should be what it is not, a pure marriage between justice and truth, unadulterated by the deviousness of man. The child of the marriage should be loving kindness. It is not for me to tell you of these things. If men are content to suffer under bad laws, whose is the blame? The true nature of a nation is revealed in its laws. This I do say, I condemn the lawmakers who issue unjust and devious decrees, who seek to hide their true intent under a mountain of words. I condemn the unjust laws armed with the sword of legality. I condemn the judges who spread a legal covering over cunningly laid traps and snare men in nets made with words. They deceive the ignorant and simple with false masks of legality. Truth and justice weep outside the courthouse. I condemn also those who stir up strife under protection of the law, who cause legal mischief or deal in legal deception to rob the innocent and unwary. Wickedness has many faces, but the most hideous is that of those who twist the laws to serve selfish ends, or treat the downtrodden with harsh injustice. I speak of these things, but I have not come to change the laws of the land, or decide whether they be good or bad. I leave worldly things to worldly men. You say, tell us to which a man should owe greatest allegiance, to the leaders of his nation, or the leaders of his faith. I say this. There is a scale of precedence, and men must serve whatever ranks highest. Spiritual things rank above worldly things, but the man who loves his nation and its customs, its mother tongue, and its traditions, is a better man than one who decries them. The man who obeys his rulers, identifying himself with his people, with their progress, their welfare, their calamities, as though they were his, repenting for their wrongs, and rejoicing in their triumphs. That man is a patriot, and patriotism has its proper place. He is above the commonplace man, but not above the man spiritually inclined. For spiritual things transcend earthly things. The good of all mankind transcends the good of any nation. In keeping the laws of the Scriptures, good intent is the main consideration. There must be a complete absence of hypocrisy and deviousness. I am a man with many books. I will tell you their teachings, but their words are for study by men of insight and learning. I speak in conformity with what is written. For if a prophet sets up a body of laws conflicting with established teachings, or laws claiming to replace them entirely, he is a false prophet. Man reflects the powers, which are his heritage. He is the heir to divinity. He must, however, submit to the will of the Supreme Spirit, who is much wiser than man, and this will is made known through the laws of the Scriptures. Man must not submit abjectly through fear of punishment or hope of reward. These things are unworthy of one aspiring to divinity. The will of the Supreme Spirit is revealed through those who have proved worthy of divine inspiration, who have spiritualized themselves sufficiently to communicate with the powers above. The prophet who has been fully tested, who has survived his trials, who knows the means for assuring himself that he speaks with divine authority, is a rarity even among prophets. There is a spiritual value in submission to the divine will. Where the purpose is obscure and self-discipline required to conform, the value is even greater than where the reason is easily perceived. This discipline too has its value. It is the discipline of the heroic warrior, the man of courage and conviction. The mind of man is like a water barrel placed against the house. On top floats a slimy scum of worldly lust and lewdness. Beneath this grows weeds of ignorance, prejudice, and selfishness. Below this is clear, clean water, unseen because of the scum above. I am one who clears away the scum. I am a revealer of the good underneath. My mission is to make the water fit for use, not to destroy the barrel. I am not a man of fancy words. I have lived all my life among wise men, and found nothing better for a man than silence. Study is not the most important thing. It is deeds. Contemplation and speech have their place, but actions shift mountains, while words blow around them. The knowledge that his soul spirit records every word makes a man careful in speech. It is the man whose inner self is wrapped in the mantle of ignorance who keeps no rein on his tongue. If a man antagonizes you, never answer him in haste. No reply at all is often an eloquent answer. You ask me concerning marriage. Others more able than I have spoken about it. Study their words. This I do say, it is not enough for husbands and wives to love each other. They must make their love known. A husband does this by showing his wife more respect than to any other woman. Is she not the one he chose, or has she been chosen unwisely? If this is so, then it is wrong to make her suffer for it. A wife should be treated with delicacy and care, as the most precious of man's possessions. As no man expects his wife to defile his home by adultery, he should commit no adultery either. A wise man leaves his wife to be mistress in his house and home. He provides for her needs to the utmost of his ability. This is the way a wife shows her love for her husband. She is at all times affectionate and womanly, always considerate and gentle. She is careful in managing the household and supervises it diligently, being herself always neat and clean. She never does anything to cause her husband anxiety. She is never wasteful with his earnings. She pushes aside every thought of other men, and never disgraces her house or shows her contempt for her husband by committing adultery. I do not say that a wife should not think of other men, or husbands of other women. Such thoughts come unbidden. It is not wrong or unnatural that they should do so, when the true nature of marriage is known. It is a state of trial. It is one of life's greatest tests. Ignorance of this fact is the enemy of marriage, not human nature. However, I am not the prophet to declare such things. Neither am I the prophet of peace. He is yet to come. I am the prophet to tell men of the Frightener, though many generations will pass before it appears. It will be a thing of monstrous greatness, arising in the form of a crab. First, its body will be red, then green, then blue. It will spread destruction across the earth, running from sunrise to sunset. It will come in the days of decision, when men are inflicted with spiritual blindness, when one ignorance has been replaced with another, when men walk in darkness and call it light. In those days, men will yearn after pleasure and comfort. They will go down roads of ease, encouraged by women incapable of inspiring them towards the upward path. There will be disbelief in spiritual things, but this will proceed from ignorance. It will be a thing of the lips, for disbelief is not in the heart and nature of man. No matter how much a man cries out his disbelief, in times of turmoil, in strange and unfamiliar surroundings, when frightened by the unknown, he turns to spiritual things for comfort and strength. In the days of the great conflict, do not pray that the Supreme Spirit be on your side. This would be a futile waste of time. Pray rather that you be on the right side, the side of the Supreme Spirit. Hear my voice, for I tell of things to come. There will be no great signs heralding the coming of the Frightener. It will come when men are least prepared. It will come when they seek only worldly things. In those days, men will be falling away from manliness, and women from womanliness. It will be a time of confusion and chaos. I have warned of the Frightener. I have done what I am charged to do. Now one asks where he shall seek for truth. I say this: they who set about it rightly will find truth, no matter where their mortal bodies are located. It is never far from men. Truth is everlastingly unchangeable. Earth is false because it changes and passes away. Truth and the Supreme Spirit are one because they are eternal things. Things as you see them and things as they really are in no way alike. Illusion is the environment of Earth, and it deludes the inner eyes with outward impressions. As a needle pricks a blister to let out the water, so does the sharp point of truth pierce the veil of illusion and let out ignorance. The mind of a man is like a pool of water. While it is disturbed, only distorted pictures can be seen. But when it becomes calm and still, the light of spiritual truth is reflected there in all its beauty. The inner being interprets things through a veil of emotion. The man who burns hotly within himself sees the world about him as a fierce fire seeking to consume him. But the man who is calm and quiet within sees all about him as tranquil and peaceful. Everyone suffers from certain fears in one form or another. The feelings of anxiety, doubt, frustration, and despair are only normal, but to be overwhelmed by them is a sign of weakness and immaturity. Therefore, to those who are fearful and anxious or have doubts, more will be sent, for this is meant to be experienced and overcome. Only by this means can man prepare himself for the greater tests ahead. Calmness, love, steadfastness, and tenacity are the sentinels outside the first gate of spiritual development. Mere ceremonial, however uplifting, cannot of itself bring the soul spirit of man into contact with the powers above. Something more is required. You ask, how much more sorrow one must suffer to win freedom from sorrow? There can be no such freedom on earth. The waters of sorrow are drawn from a bottomless well. Only when the eye becomes incapable of some tears does it really see fully. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. The Book of the Silver Bough, Chapter 8. Elidor speaks to his disciples. I have chosen you from the many because of your eagerness, your attentiveness, your serenity, and your self-discipline. These are the basic qualities required. You must also prove yourselves loyal and adaptable, strong and trustworthy, intelligent and unselfish, free of all vices and bad traits, efficient, self-reliant, and stable. When I was given my prophethood, I was told to initiate only the worthy persons who had proven their self-mastery and trustworthiness. Each of you must snap the knot of the heart. You must study the scriptures constantly, and apart from these, read words which are beautiful, inspiring, and true. You must constantly strive for tranquility of heart, for self-control, for self-harmony. Be kind and considerate at all times, and always maintain purity of thought. Live good lives. Practice frugality, but false austerity for your own inner edification is impure. When self-control or self-discipline become self-inflicted torture, or when their intent is to hurt another, then they are servants of evil. However, sacrifices such as I have taught, the kindly acts of everyday living, are not to be abandoned because you are disciples. Strive each day to achieve greater self-harmony, for this is the swiftest path upward. The senses and body cravings must be disciplined, otherwise they would assume control. It is not sufficient to be spiritually developed. You must ensure that the body is completely controlled by the soul spirit within. Therefore, you must not succumb before the rigors of life. You must not pamper yourselves. You must obtain victory over heat and cold, over the craving for food and drink, over the weaknesses of the flesh, and over the call of comfort. You must cultivate persistence and resolution, for determination is essential on the path. The women must practice all womanly virtues, such as decorum, decency, pity, modesty, sincerity, devotion, purity in all things, cleanliness, and love of love. They must be free of all sensuality, lewdness, and crudeness. They must maintain an evenness of mind through all things, whether pleasant or unpleasant. They must aim for a single outpouring of pure love, a love never straying, never deceptive. They must have contentment of heart, so that they can enjoy solitude, avoiding vain enjoyments and the noisy multitude. The men must seek contentment and calmness within, and outwardly display a steadfast and unruffled front. They must be courageous, generous, truthful, strong in character, and healthy in body. They must cheerfully accept austerity and have the ability to endure privation, solitude, and a rigorous life. They will have a distaste for aggression, for bullying, for the arrogant and haughty, for the cruel, and for the boasters. In men and women there will be a constant yearning to awaken the soul spirit. There is to be an ideal to be upheld and a vision to follow. You may practice all things and follow any way of life consistent with the spiritual aims set out in the Scriptures. Hating another unjustifiably is wrong, but hatred itself is not necessarily wrong. There is no wrong in hating cruelty, wickedness, arrogance, and many other things of evil. The measure of all things is to be how they affect the sole aim and purpose of life, the upward flight of man. In seeking contentment and peace, beware that you do not fall into the pits of complacency, passiveness, and inertia. Apathy also sets its trap, and when caught in any of these, you will be doomed to a spiritual death. The purpose of earthly life is to experience. Therefore, be wise enough to understand that though contentment and peace may be desirable, they are no more than that. They are not prime objectives. There are two kinds of people in the world. There are those who must chase enjoyment and pleasure because there is no happiness within them. They are empty and have to suck happiness from people with whom they associate, or from their environment, or have to obtain it by external stimulation. Those are the spiritually deficient. Then there are those who are inwardly happy. They shed joy and contentment. Wherever they go, they are a lamp of happiness, giving out a bright glow which all may enjoy. Those can enjoy external things and find happiness outside themselves, but are not dependent on them. They are the spiritually healthy. Some people are like the uncomprehending butterflies, fluttering aimlessly from flower to flower of sensation and pleasure. Then there are the spiritually strong, who are like hawk-eyed birds, flying directly towards their objective, riding high above lower creatures. Those are the two kinds of people, but the spiritually deficient cannot recognize themselves. Always seek the beautiful in life and add to it. Turn aside from all forms of vulgarity and crudeness, but it would be better to replace them with graciousness and loveliness. However, do not forget that all too often a man seeking the beautiful becomes soft, and it is well established that beauty can ruin a man. Be a man of few words. This does not mean become dumb, but make your words have value. It means avoid idle chatter. A man can be judged by the company he keeps, so make sure you are always in good company. Avoid all persons of bad repute, for they follow a path of destruction. Be vigorous and alive, never fearing hard work. No living man can ever fully renounce work or effort, so avoid being numbered among the dead. Be a master of life. This is one who has his body and emotions firmly in rein. Though hard-pressed by tribulations and afflictions, he remains steadfast. His mind is never confused. He knows what has to be done, what is expected of him, and does it. He strikes swiftly when action is needed, or just keeps plodding along the path. His mind is clear regarding his duty, and he knows his obligations, and does not shirk them. He is always a pillar of strength to his weaker brethren. Who are the masters of life? When you can ride the stormy seas of sorrow, when you are not overcome by pleasure, when you can control the passions, master fear, discard anger, and whatever comes, maintain a quiet and steady manner, you will be a master of life. When you can accept all your obligations cheerfully, do your duty at all times, accept whatever comes, be it good or ill, with steadfast heart, remain calm in the midst of confusion and upheaval, you will be a master of life. When you can temper all your desires with prudence, resist temptations to weakness, and bring all urges under control, when you can bring all senses into harmony, control all emotion, overcome the greed for possessions, smother unwholesome desires, you will be a master of life. When you can subdue anger, dispel dismay, never forget where your duty lies, and be completely free from confusion of mind, you will be a master of life. As the worldly work selfishly and in bondage to worldliness, so does the Master of Life work unselfishly for the good of mankind. He is inspired by the highest ideals of man. He knows that hatred and cruelty, lust and desire for possessions have their roots in the lower natures of man, in the beast within them. These things the masters learned long ago. Searching their hearts with wisdom, they found a stirring response to something greater and discovered the bond of union between man and spirit. When the Master of Life knows his true nature and understands the unity of contact, he is freed from all delusion and sorrow. He rises to something greater above. Self-control and harmony form the first step towards becoming a master of life. Harmony meaning tranquility within and harmonious relationships without. Self-control means self-control in all things. Even an artist must exercise self-control when creating. The tradesman must control his sharp tools, and the physician his knife. Everything man does requires self-control in one form or another. The Master of Life has to do more than this. He has to transform his whole life into a creative act, self-control and creativity going hand in hand. Only self-control of itself is not enough. It must be subordinated to goodwill and loving kindness. The Master of Life must be conscious of his true nature. He must develop the threefold power: self-control, creativity, and effort within himself, and reach out for the threefold unattainables beyond: love, perfection, and truth. You, my disciples, must become masters of life, never regretting the past, nor worrying about the future, but always applying yourselves to whatever is in hand at present. The Master of Life knows what are the good thoughts and what are the bad thoughts, the first being beneficial, the second not. They know what to tell and what not to tell. They know what to do and what not to do. They know what serves and what does not, what is good and what is bad. If a house is seen to be on fire, this immediately suggests the getting of water, or saving whatever may be within. The commonplace man does not know how to act. He acts foolishly or in haste. The Master of Life does not get excited. He keeps his head. He does not stand aside wringing his hands. He does not rush about or get in the way, impeding others. He does not raise his voice. He does not offer futile sympathy. He remains calm and quietly and efficiently does what needs doing. He takes charge or places himself at the disposal of those who are better fitted to assume control. The Master of Life is not bound by the fetters the ignorant wear, neither is he misguided into ways of darkness by the blind. Every thought and act is considered, for he knows the power of oft-repeated thoughts, desires, and actions to cut deep grooves into the soul spirit. He is no longer a prisoner of the flesh, but the charioteer of his body. I call upon each of you to take up your burden and travel the long road leading to mastership of life. The progress of all pilgrims who have taken this road is indicated by their conduct. The instability has been left behind, the excesses are gone, the demanding desires are dropped, the spitefulness, greed, and conceit have been discarded. Wickedness and malice are thrown aside. One by one they have been sloughed off, as a snake sheds its skin. As masters of life, you will call upon others to follow you in the pilgrimage. They will have to be resolute and strong, willing to devote their whole lives to serving the cause of truth. They will have to study diligently the pages of the Scriptures and search ever deeper into the inmost recesses of their being. Their first step will be in overcoming the greatest of all man's delusions, that of thinking the body comprises the whole being. As masters of life, you will set an example far beyond reach of the commonplace man. You will be known from others by a profound serenity and resolute steadfastness. Just as the commonplace man is distinguished by ignorance, by restlessness, the urge to hide himself in pleasure, and by enslavement to prejudice and emotion. Poise and confidence, the marks of real wisdom and knowledge, distinguish the master of life. Unsteadiness, shiftiness, unreliability, ever-changing opinions, and fluctuating loyalties distinguish the commonplace man. Undue consideration for the outer body and the satisfaction of its desires marks the commonplace man, and his concern for material things is the prime cause of his delusion. In a master of life, the mind has escaped from worldly delusions, like a bird freed from its cage, and in the liberated mind every doubt is stilled by certainty. My disciples, heed what I say. Be steadfast in heart and mind, dogged in pursuing the pilgrimage, cheerfully accepting the trials and tribulations which will beset you. Always seek the companionship of congenial and thoughtful fellow wayfarers. If you must pray, then remember the prayers of quiet silence. Develop your soul spirit by contemplation of life, meditation of the Scriptures, and visualization of the soul spirit's form of beauty and glory. The following are things you must strive against and overcome, so that they are completely banished from your nature. You have heard them before, but they cannot be repeated too often. All forms of anger, recklessness, cruelty, and boastfulness, all tendencies towards falsehoods, deceit, and dishonesty, or towards lewdness, obscenity or lust, fornication, seduction, and the degradation of women are forbidden. Cheating, insincerity, gossiping, slander, and tale-bearing are unworthy of you. Such things as an unforgiving nature, moral weakness, cowardice, instability, irresolution, fickleness, and intemperance are to be eliminated. Undue love of comfort, of worldly or sensual pleasures, and all forms of uncleanliness in mind and body must be overcome. Stomach gratification is not wrong, but it is not to be overdone. Never indulge in argument or discussion as to the form and nature of the Supreme Spirit, for this is folly. An understanding of these is beyond the unawakened finite mind, though the mind of a master may grasp what they are. Therefore, defer all argument and discussion until you are one. There is much talk among you concerning the nature of worship. Understand this. True worship is seeking to unite the spirit below with the spirit above. To do this, you must have a heart purged of all evil thoughts, a tongue undefiled by falsehood, or tainted with deceit and hypocrisy, and a life free of all malice and hatred. Even this is not enough. You must have a life filled with love and good deeds. Only when in this state are you fit to worship. When you talk about the worthlessness of worship, are you condemning yourselves? Purifying worship of which you speak means all acts which tend to burn up carnality and worldliness within the body. As true disciples, you must spend your whole conscious life in purposeful and constructive thinking. You must be doers, not dreamers. When you withdraw into the silence to worship, remember the great jewels of prayer: serenity, purity, and trust. The prophets who have gone before held that a kindly and pure heart is the only worship required to benefit man. This may be so, but surely tranquility and trust are also needed. You will learn that the true greatness and goodness of pilgrims traveling the road with you are often hidden from the eyes of men because of their unusual way of life. Commonplace men will often think them deluded, or men who have lost their reason. How many of you have not hesitated because you feared the opinion of others, the entreaties of loved ones, or the thoughts of possible suffering and discomfort? I have spoken of discomfort. This I say again: too much comfort is not for you. Neither should you sleep too much or too little. You must overcome all tendencies towards sloth and carelessness, for these will sap your spiritual stamina. Do not be impatient for advancement. Slow progress is often the best. If someone breaks a hatching egg before its time, no chick will emerge. When the time is ripe, the shell will be broken from within, and a healthy chick will emerge to life. If the shell is broken before the chick is ready, the chick will be dead. So it is with the awakening soul spirit. Let it emerge from within, of its own accord. Until you have purged your hearts of all impurities and washed away all the worldly filth, you cannot even set foot on the lower rung of the ladder leading to enlightenment and awakening. When you speak of the mating of spirit and mortal, you are wrong. Under no circumstances can spirit mate with mortal, though it is certainly true that spirit can enter mortal. It is well to know what spirit can do and what it cannot do, for it has its limitations. Should any man come, directly seeking truth and knowledge of the true way, let him first seek someone to introduce him into the body of the select who wait. Then, in the course of time, as he is observed, and his manner of talk and bearing is noted, so will one come to him and call him before the primary selector. Life is such that though it is easy enough to become an intimate of a moderately good or bad man, it is difficult indeed to meet a really good one. You will choose candidates for discipleship who may become masters of life. No commonplace man may be accepted. They must be calm and wise, recognizing what is real, desirable, important, and true, and what is false, elusive, trivial, and unworthy of attention. They must be ones who have overcome and are aware of true values, who have no inclinations towards anything not actively assisting them in their search. They must not be weak of character, neither must they be seeking a refuge. 3 things must be brought together in combination: the sacred scriptures, the wise instructor, and the eager and diligent pupil. The sacred scriptures are not to be swallowed as one does a medicinal compound. They are to be assimilated slowly and digested with reason and experience. True enlightenment and the road to truth are found only by way of intelligence rooted in truthfulness and reason. Some have said it is difficult to be both intelligent and absolutely sincere after examining true motives, but this shall not apply to true candidates. Never forget, it is the meaning, not the mere form of words in the sacred scriptures, which is of value. A silken mantle may look better than a coarse woolen one, but which serves best in providing warmth? Also keeping in mind that the scriptures are guides. They cannot undertake the hard work, nor assume the burden. These are things for the candidates alone. The purpose of the sacred scriptures is also to show men what life should be, how they should be governed, how they should conduct themselves, what they should keep, and what they should discard. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, comment, and share. The Book of the Silver Bough, Chapter 9. Elidor on the Sacred Scriptures. These are the sacred scriptures which are not like other scriptures. They are the scriptures of those who follow the great path of the true way. They are not for the mocker, the unbeliever, the man of worldly affairs, or the evildoer. They shall move forward with the ages, keeping abreast of men as he advances. They must evolve to keep pace with his growing intelligence, but he must also evolve spiritually. If he does not, then they must assume the burden and come forth to lead him. There are men satiated with worldly learning who have fallen into the pits dug by their own books. They are gorged and uncomfortable. Their diversity of opinions and thought confuses them. The study of the sacred scriptures is not for the curious. It is useless unless the student knows where he is heading, his destination, unless he has an end in view. Though the truth within the sacred scriptures is unalterable, can never change, the revelation can always be interpreted according to man's progress. The hidden truths are to be made available to man whenever he is ready. The spiritual man who is truly awakened sees much more in the words than the commonplace man, who may see no more than the letters and words. Yet words are a forest in which man can easily lose his way. Fine sentences and a grand manner of expression may just be a lure and a covering for the pit and stake. There are those who talk about spiritual things, but do no more than weave a web of words to trap the unwary. To derive benefit from a bottle of physic, the contents must be taken. Merely reading the inscriptions will effect no cure. My disciples, read the sacred scriptures diligently, and never abandon your work and studies. For to do so, when you are struggling to cross the stream of life, shows lack of resolution, and it achieves nothing. You will sacrifice your own self-assurance. Your inspiration will be lost. Never forget, these words are not fair-weather friends. They are not things of feathers to blow away before a slight wind. They are stones in a solid causeway, firm and reliable under all conditions. Take these sacred scriptures as your daily guide. Make them your advisor whenever a problem arises. Unless they are put into practice, they remain valueless, just things to be thought about in idle moments. Pure reason, like bitter essence, is worthless alone. Even as the essence must be made palatable and drinkable by the addition of water, so must pure reason be diluted by faith. The sacred scriptures are the midwife and nurse of the soul spirit. Some awaken the soul spirit by meditation. Sometimes it is awakened through a vision. In some, it awakens through good works, in others through labor. It can be awakened by creativity and love. There are many means to suit the numerous conditions of men. A few may not feel the stirrings of an awakening soul spirit. Some may rely only on the words of others. But because they believe and act accordingly. These too shall awaken to conscious survival. So wonderful is the state of a newly awakened soul spirit, so delightful the experience of sudden realization, that none who has known it will ever forget. None will ever find words adequate to describe it to others. There is no thought except a deep awareness of life, of being. There is a sense of deeper reality than that of ordinary consciousness. Faith in the reality of the soul spirit then gives way to certainty and assurance. For how can any man doubt the greatest experience of his life? The glory of the stars shining in the night skies is truly revealed once in the darkness. It is as children that men begin to sense the mystery of silence. The mystery which reveals the universe. Silence is the secret of the soul spirit. There are dark doctrines which tell of soul spirits condemned to everlasting darkness and torment. But this is not so. They are not condemned to suffer forever, for after a long interval, they are taken out and recast. They are like misshapen casts of metal, which are thrown back into the furnace to mingle and blend together, coming out purified and pliable, ready to be cast into a new form. They come back to earth completely unconscious of the past. It is lost to them in the purifying fires of the furnace. And so they start again, as a lump of salt dissolved in water, which can never regain its former shape. So are they.